Stop making the same blogging mistake that I made for years. That is labeling each blog post with either cornerstone or pillar content. I thought the more I labeled, the more they would show up in the search results. But really, that's not what those labels are for. For example, on Inspire to Thrive, I had 800 posts and I had probably over 100 marked as cornerstone. You really have to go down a notch. You should only have up to 5% of your posts marked that way. So now I have much fewer posts marked as cornerstone. The same with if you're using rank math, which I do on Small Biz Tipster. And the same theory holds true. I had marked a lot of them as pillow content, thinking, oh, those are the ones that get the most search. They should be marked that way. But that's not really how it goes. So I'm going to show you around a little bit to give you an example. Wanted to show you the example of the cornerstone. As you can see, I'm down to 8. I should really be down to 7, so I've got one more to kind of weed out from the rest. But these are the most important posts on the blog. As you can see, they're related to social media, the pillar content, that's blog, SEO, and blog, and you can see it goes down. So those are the ways in which you should be labeling your content as cornerstone, or if you're using pillar, the same applies. Of course, you have to figure out exactly how to do this weeding. Biz Tipster, which is rank math and the pillar content. Again, I have 7. I may be able to cut it down one, but there's over almost 600 posts. I may be getting that down to 5. So really 5 should be the limit. So I've got to go through and decide which ones. A lot of times what I'll do is to check how many views the page has had, um, if they have any comments, etc. And I may check their rankings. I may also go to Ahrefs and see if there's any backlinks associated, because those are all important things when you're trying to build your pillar content on your blog. So, what to do with your blog after you've found your pillar or cornerstone content? Again, 5% or less. So, if you have 100 posts, you know that's going to be under 5. And that's similar to what I have on the rural area blog, another blog that I manage. And you really want to get that down maybe 3 to 5. The less, but the more important, the better. And you want to link all your other posts to that are in that category or niche. I find many bloggers do not do much internal linking, and that's a mistake. Internal links really help your site and your users because they may want more information on a topic, and you may want to point them to that pillar content that has all the information on a particular topic. For example, on Inspire to Thrive, I may have a post all about social media and the different social media sites, the different form of marketing, the different ways to use them. It'll have everything in that one pillar point. So any social media post may want to go there. I may have secondary ones, like, for example, X, Twitter, and I may want to have all those go to one X Twitter post, but that's a secondary. It's not that cornerstone, which is social media. So keep that in mind as you're doing your pillar and cornerstone content for your blog, and to make sure that you are internal linking. I usually internally link at least once in a paragraph, depending how long the paragraph is. If it's a lengthy one, I may have 2. If they're short, I may skip one. So, try to think of yourself as that reader. Do you want to see a lot of links as you're trying to read something? Maybe not. And if it's an important link, you may want to have I usually do a little arrow button or a little finger pointing to it, or you can have a little call out box, depending on what you're trying to do. And of course, if it is affiliate link, make sure you label it as such on there. And if you're using AI to help with the content, I also label that now. I call that my disclosure tag at the end of the posts. And I've been doing that on almost everything that I've been updating, especially if I have used any AI. If I haven't, I won't, obviously. But that's something that I think is a good habit to get into. And even with images now, sharing them on social, A lot of those have to also be labeled as AI. So just to keep that in mind. But those are the things to think about with that pillar content. And what I do for all my websites is I have a cheat sheet with the list of those blog posts. So I may only have 3 on a site that's got 100 posts, but if I have 700 posts, I may have up to 7 or less. And you just want to be aware of how many links you're pointing to it. So maybe a little spreadsheet with that. If you use Link Whisper, you can always go in and check how many links are pointing to each particular post. So those ones that you have labeled as pillar, you may want to boost those up with the internal links, something I still need to do myself. So if you want your site to do well for your readers and in search, those are the tips that you can use with the Cornerstone Pillar content labeling for posts on your blog. I hope you found this helpful. If you'd like more tips on blogging, social media, SEO, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you.